Let's review how to write an introduction for a literary analysis. The introduction is always the first part of a literary analysis, but depending on your needs, it might be its own paragraph, or it could be a sentence or two that starts off your essay. Today we're going to talk about the four main components that you need to have in your introduction. They are the title, author, text type, and the controlling idea. The title, author, and text type are usually included in a topic sentence, and the thesis statement, which is also known as the controlling idea, can either be included in that topic sentence or be its own sentence. And we're going to look at some samples that show just that. In class, we went over page 78, which has a sample literary analysis called The Selfish Sister. And in this sample, we're going to take a look at the introduction. This introduction is all in one complete sentence. So let's see if we can find all four components of a strong introduction. First, can we find the title? Louisa, Please Come Home. That's our title. So yes, we have that. Can we find the type of text that we're looking at? Are we looking at a poem, novel, short story, or other type of text? And I can see already that we have the word short story, so we can tell what kind of text. The next part is the author. Shirley Jackson's our author. And finally, and the most important part of our introduction, is our thesis statement, and that is what our book calls the controlling idea. So let's see if we can find that. The least likable character is Louisa's sister, Carol. So we have all components of the introduction in one sentence here. Now let's look at the other model where all of these things are in two separate sentences. Lost in Time, our second model of a literary analysis, is a little bit longer. It's about a 5-paragraph essay. So what they did was they made the introduction into a few more sentences, and it seems like they have two here. So let's look and see if we can find both parts. I see the topic sentence, which I highlighted in pink, is Shirley Jackson's short story, Louisa, Please Come Home, describes the experiences of a girl who runs away from home. So they gave us a quick recap to let us know what the story was about, but we didn't quite get to the controlling idea or thesis statement yet. Down in the green is where our thesis statement is shown. Because the story is set in the 1950s, Louisa has a much easier time disappearing than she would today. That's our opinion statement. Remember, that's what we call the boss. And that's our controlling idea. Let's go back and check to make sure we have all parts of this introduction. Do we have the title? Yes. The type of text? Yep. Do we have the author? And finally, the thesis statement or controlling idea. So there's the example where you have the introduction as two separate sentences. When you're including the title in the introduction, you have to be careful of a few things. You want to use correct punctuation for the title. For example, book titles are often underlined, while quotation marks are put around short story titles and sometimes poems as well. So for Louisa, Please Come Home, I put quotation marks around the entire title. The second part, author, who wrote the piece of literature. And for our example, it's Shirley Jackson. Next, the text type. So for instance, is it a poem, short story, novel, or other type of literary work? The final part of our introduction is the controlling idea, which is sometimes called the thesis statement. And this is the most important part of the introduction. Think back to the Learn Zillion video that we watched together, and you want to make sure that your controlling idea is the boss. Is it broad? Do I have enough to say about it? You should have about 3 details or pieces of evidence to support it. Oh, opinion. Is it arguable? Can you take sides on it? S, statement. Is it a complete sentence or statement, or does it sound more like a question or an idea? And you need to make sure that you describe which aspect of the literature you're going to be analyzing. So we're talking about which story element here, the plot, setting, theme, or characters. One way you can make sure that you have all 4 components in your introduction is to use a sentence frame. And here's an example from our text. It says, in the blank, which is the text type and title, by blank, where you insert the author, and then it leaves another longer blank for your controlling idea. Let's do an example together. So I'm going to use the story Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm going to write, in the story, Little Red Riding Hood by Charles Perrault, the big bad wolf is a deceitful character. So let's go back and see if I have all 4 parts. Do I have the title? Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood. And it's a short story, so I put that in quotes. Do I have the author? Yep, Charles Perrault is the author. And do I have the type of text? Here it is. It's a story. Finally, the most important part is our thesis statement or big idea. The big bad wolf is a deceitful character. That's where I state my opinion. So there I have it. Now I want you to go back and check your own writing. So far, did I state all of these things in my introduction? The title, the author, what type of text you're analyzing, and the controlling idea or thesis statement. If you have all of these things, then you are finished. If you are missing something, you need to go back, rewatch this video, and add that. Okay, you have now finished this video.